This is a car I bought back in 2022 for 20,000 renminbi, a flood-damaged Audi Q5. In this video, I'm going to take you through the entire journey of this flooded car in one go, from fixing it up to converting it into a camper, building a trunk kitchen, and finally taking it on a road trip along Route 318. First, let's take a look at its current condition. As you can see, the interior is completely covered in mud, left behind after being submerged. Now, let's check the engine and transmission to see if they took on water. Look at this, the spark plugs are covered in water. That proves water definitely got into the cylinders. Now, let's find 4 chopsticks of equal length to see if the connecting rods are bent. Since this car was driven into the water, it's a dynamic hydrolock situation, meaning there's a good chance the connecting rods got bent. From what we can see right now, the rods don't seem to be bent. Now, let's pump out all the water that got inside the cylinders to know for sure if the rods are bent. We'll have to wait until it's put back together, crank up the engine, and check how it runs before making a final assessment. Now, let's also pump the water out of the turbocharger. Next, let's see if the engine oil mixed with water. Look at this engine. It took on at least 1 to 2 liters of water. Let's get some fresh engine oil in there. Next, let's check if the transmission took on water. The transmission took on even more water than the engine. Let's drop the transmission oil pan to see what's going on inside. The transmission fluid has completely emulsified and turned white. Let's clean out the oil pan, put in a new filter, and fill it up with fresh transmission fluid. Now that the engine and transmission are taken care of, we're going to completely strip out the car's interior. Honestly, this video was edited a few years ago, but I never had the chance to post it. Might as well seize the moment and share it now. Alright, the car is now completely gutted. Next up is the most tedious and least favorite part of the job for me. Washing every single part of this car until it's spotlessly clean. With the year ending, some friends looking to buy new cars asked me the best way to handle their old ones. Gauzy is actually a great option right now. A friend of mine listed a BMW 5 Series on Gauzy and sold it. The price on Gauzy was 10% higher than what dealers offered. Because he sold it directly to an individual, there was no middleman, buying low and selling high, so the seller gets more, and the buyer saves a lot too. If you want to sell your car, I highly recommend Gauzy. Selling to an individual gets you a better price. Every single screw and clip from the car gets thoroughly cleaned. It's no exaggeration to say they look as clean as the day they left the factory. The interior trim panels are completely washed. Next, we clean the chassis shell. Now, let's deep clean the cabin interior. Every single wiring harness connector needs to be washed twice. Cleaning these things is easily the most tedious and exhausting part. Alright, all the prep work is finally out of the way. Next, we're going to put back everything needed to start the engine, and then we can try to bring it back to life. Let's go ahead and organize the wiring harness. We'll replace all these broken retaining clips with brand new ones. Now that the wiring is organized, doesn't it look much cleaner and more organized? Much better. Time to pull out my assembly manual and start putting things back together. Let's spray a layer of paint onto the dashboard skeleton. Looks good and prevents rust. Routing the dashboard wiring harness into place. Installing the fuse box, and replacing them with OEM fuses. Reassembling all the control modules. This car didn't have its keys coded, which keeps the immobilizer system from locking us out, so as long as the engine itself is fine, it should fire right up. The conditions for powering up are met. Let's give it some power and see if we get any surprises. Man, I'm nervous. Will it catch fire? Will it explode like you guys said in the comments? The cluster lights are on. Let's put the key in and see if it turns over. No response. Let's try again. Okay. Dashboard is lit. I can hear the fuel pump priming too. Let's try cranking it to see if it fires up. Damn it. The starter motor isn't spinning. It's either mechanically seized or there's an open circuit. Looks like we'll need to troubleshoot the starter. The fault codes are endless. AC module is dead. Airbag module is dead. Let's go look at the starter and see why it's not turning over, spinning. See that? This main power cable is actually loose. I have no idea how. The previous owner even drove this car before. As for the starter, we'll just jump it with 2 wires to force start it directly. First, let's pull the spark plugs and clean out the cylinders again. Pour a little gas in there and blow it out to flush out any residual debris. Then, pump it back out and add a bit of engine oil for lubrication. We'll manually crank the engine over a bit to expel any excess oil. Plugs are back in, getting ready to start. Time to officially crank it up. Connecting the battery. So tense. Go. Using the bone conduction method, let's listen for any knocking or weird noises. If there's knocking, it's trash. So far, the engine sounds clear of internal noises. There's a rattling sound though. Likely the front tensioner pulley, or an idler pulley. Yeah, the noise is coming from right here. Probably a bad tensioner pulley. Let's see how it responds to revving up. Beautiful. Now let's mount the radiator and top off the coolant. We'll shift through the gears to see if the transmission works fine, and if the car can actually move. Second gear. Third, fourth, fifth gear. Sixth gear. Seventh gear. Reverse. Alright, both the engine and transmission are running great. Let's get the rest of the parts fully reassembled. Next, get ready for an immersive experience of rebuilding a flood-damaged car. Since my original plan was to become a road trip vlogger, I added a layer of padding in the back for storage. This will keep things from rattling around. Now, let's give the seats a full refurbishment. After clearing up the remaining electrical issues, the car is now officially fully restored. Up next, we dive into the camper conversion and trunk kitchen build phase. Let me show you how I customize it into the perfect outdoor overlanding rig. Because when the rear seats are folded down, the trunk area doesn't sit completely flat, which isn't ideal for sleeping. So, I need to fabricate a platform box. It'll provide storage and sit level with the seats. Let's check out the entire build process. The sleeping platform is finished. Now, let's build the trunk kitchen. Alright, everything is set. Let's hit the road. Time to get out of bed. Alright, we've pretty much reached the end of the video. To wrap things up, let's take a moment to admire how striking this car looks now.